There are interesting things going on in the world of Magic the Gathering right now. Wizards of the Coast has introduced slivers to the secret lair world. On top of that, we have 5 new game night commanders to talk about.
Magic. I am a wizard! History. I'm an old wizard! The magic historian. My bones hurt.
Greetings! Owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles, my friends! I hope the day finds you well because we have gathered for some magical goodness. And after all the negative stuff we've been seeing recently, it's nice to have some time to enjoy ourselves. And speaking of which, I put out an awesome 1-hour magic lore video about the Brothers' War over on Fantasy Geographic less than 2 days ago. And yesterday, I put out a full 1-hour old school gameplay video over on my Hatcher channel. So if you like old school magic, check it out. I'll put links down in the description comment area for you. Now, turning to the secret lair action. There's actually multiple things we need to talk about, and strangely enough, we're going to be starting with the astrological secret lair, the newest one. So, up on the screen, you are going to see the Crab Man secret lair. This is secret lair Cancer, and that can either be the description of a secret lair or people's opinions about what secret lair is overall. But anyways, you've got a strange situation here where this is a giant crab, but this is a plains land, and your brain goes, wait a minute, shouldn't this be an island? And if you didn't know this, I just found out today. When Wizards of the Coast originally announced all of the astrological secret lairs, they actually put up the list of what they were going to do as each land type. So this was announced way back at the beginning, and they even included full-on horoscopes. I never noticed that before. But the reason this is truly relevant is because this opens the door into the realm of secret lair slivers. You may have been thinking that we're getting a secret lair dedicated specifically to slivers, but it's actually much bigger and crazier than that. Take a look at this. This is Horned Sliver. This is a secret lair bonus card. Now, if for some reason you're not familiar with what slivers are, take a look at the dude on the screen. Basically, the idea is that slivers give each other their bonuses, right? So this guy is your little trample buddy. 1 green and 2 gets you a 2/2 that says all your slivers have trample, and the slivers all share similar physiology with the exception of this one offshoot that are way more humanoid. But the majority of slivers look like this, somewhat insectile. They have a gigantic scythe-like little stabby pokey part, right? And the idea is that you put out a ton of these, and they give each other all kinds of abilities. And slivers are a huge fan favorite in Magic the Gathering. Like, this is going to cause a massive fury of people going, yo, how do I get this? Where do I get this? Why don't I have this? So, how do you get this? Well, this is the secret lair bonus card. So, you can get these in things like the 80s synthwave secret lair that we saw, but more importantly, apparently, these are going to be mixed in to the astrological secret lairs as well. And this leads to a very interesting question. Because these secret lairs are fundamentally different, what does that mean in terms of the bonus cards for earlier versions of these astrological secret lairs? Because as far as I understand, they did initially print a batch of each of these secret lairs, but they're also making them available for the entirety of the year. It's a very weird situation where if your astrological symbol happens to fall in January, you have an entire year to buy this product. But if you happen to have an astrological symbol that shows up in December, well, now you've got about a month, right? So we're going to have 12 different secret lairs coming in at 12 different levels of commonality, because you could get the one from January all year. And let's be real, how many people know exactly everything that's going on with Magic? So you have a scarcity situation where some of these later astrological secret lairs may have some super desirable slivers in them. Bear in mind, there's really only one sliver that's off the table for these kind of printings, and that is Sliver Queen, the initial, I mean, this is the one that all the sliver players really want ultimately, but that's the one you can't get. Everything else is up for grabs, and that makes every astrological secret lair valid in a way, in that the bonus cards can make it worthwhile to grab it. Because as far as I'm concerned, the astrological secret lairs are the biggest dogs in terms of secret layers. Because if it doesn't hit your specific symbol, what are you going to do? And if you don't like the art concept, because it does have the same style done across the entirety of all 12 of these symbols, then it's going to be a big miss for you. So it is an interesting swing that Wizards took with this, and putting the secret layers in there kind of helps them to hedge their bets. Now, we have more magical goodness to talk about on top of the secret layers. We've got the 5 commanders from the upcoming Game Night box set. So before we talk about the cards, I'll just tell you real quick what the box set is. This is either the 3rd or 4th iteration of this product. Now, this product isn't really designed for Magic players specifically, although it does have 5 new cards in it. This is designed for people who walk into a game store and look at a big shelf full of board games and go, what am I going to play with Becky and Billy tonight when we go over to their house? So it's just grab a game that looks like it's going to be simple enough to go, and this product is designed in that vein. So you can basically sit down with a bunch of people, you can play whatever style deck is most appealing to you, because you're going to get one across all 5 colors. And so it works as a box set, take it down off the shelf style game, because you've got balanced decks, but at the same time, you can just grab it if you're a Magic player for the initial face cards, and also maybe there might be a couple of decent reprints tucked in there as well, although admittedly, Wizards tends to not worry about putting that kind of stuff in there, because the price point on these products is low enough to compete with other board games. And if they put the reprints in there that are too expensive, what happens is Magic players will come and snag the product off the shelf, and that's not what it's designed for. This is a Magic product that's mostly designed for non-Magic players. But let's take a look at the brand new cards that come along with it, because they are really cool. All right, so the first one we're going to look at is Zamriel, Seraph of Steel. We're going to start out with the one that had the least impact on me overall. It's 2 white and 2 for a 3/4 legendary angel with flying, and it says, as long as it's your turn, equipped creatures you control have indestructible. Now, when I read this card, admittedly, I look at it and go, this doesn't feel mythic powered level, right? It's like, okay, it's half decent. For somebody who's brand new to Magic though, it's gonna feel good. Indestructibility feels amazing. Knowing your dudes can't be destroyed feels good, and being able to move that indestructibility around by putting equipment on it is really sweet as well. And the fact that Zamriel doesn't say other equipped creatures you control is nice, because then you can slap equipment on her too. And when you take a look at the flavor text, it says, armored in courage and armed with searing light, her legion stands unflinching against the forces of darkness. So that's the white one. We have ones across all 5 colors. The next one we're going to look at is Maeve, Insidious Singer. Now this one is an interesting bag. 2 blue and 2 for a 3/4 siren. It has 1 blue and 2 goad target creature. Whenever that creature attacks one of your opponents this turn, you draw a card. And I have to admit that this does feel a little bit odd to me, because goading really does ultimately feel like it belongs in red, mostly with that sort of like, I am going to taunt you and force you to swing in on me. That being said, this style of ability was really initially blue. Forcing your opponents to attack was a blue ability. The fact that they've stepped it up a notch and added on the fact that it has to attack one of your opponents has always been interesting to me, from the perspective of, like, you taunt them so hard that they're going to swing at somebody else. It's a weird idea. When you deal with like a siren and their magical song, that is a completely different beast. I have always found the concept of sirens to be absolutely fascinating. The idea of beasts that can lure you to your doom, right? I'm gonna pull you in with this beautiful music that you literally can't avoid. All kinds of movies and other things where you see sailors tying themselves to the masts so they won't dash themselves upon the rocks, or cramming their ripped up shirts into their own ears in an attempt to drown out this lullaby that's gonna drag them to their end. It is so epic, right? And Maeve here is something I've never seen in my life. An octopus variant siren. As soon as I saw it, I was like, dude, this really works conceptually. This is such an awesome idea. Normally, you just see like fish style sirens. Your traditional siren has a fish tail and is generally, most of the time, a beautiful lady, right? Although in some cases, you actually have ugly ones that somehow from a distance can create the mirage of being beautiful, either by looking physically fit and having like a crone's face, or genuine magic, right? Because there's a lot of different siren mythology. But this octopus variant is so cool, man. You just think about from like a distance, okay, you know what? Hey, there's a lady on the rocks, boys. Let's go on. Let's head on over. Sounds like she's singing a good song. And then you get closer and the song gets stronger and there's nothing you can do about it. This song is so strong that it's pulling in multiple ships worth of sailors at the same time and they're crashing on the rocks, but you've gotten so close you can see the twitching tentacles of her octopus legs up in the air, but it doesn't matter. They're all beckoning you forward to your ultimate destruction. Like, how cool is that? The flavor text says, her haunting tune drowns out the percussion of snapping masts. That is so dark, dude. You're literally hearing boats crash into the rocks. The screams of men that are eventually disappeared as they just kind of gurgle down into the water. And over it all is this siren song that you literally cannot deny. That is so epic from a flavor perspective. Honestly, from a gameplay perspective, I don't know how powerful this is. I look at it and go, it's kind of fun to make somebody go, yo, you go get him. But ultimately, like flavor concept, it is a mega home run. Power concept, it's on the lower end of the scale for me. Moving on, we got the black one. This is Vogar. He's the Necropolis Tyrant. 2 black and 3 for a 4/4 legendary zombie giant. Zombies are already terrifying because of their relentless nature. They're mindless, they're very difficult to stop. You gotta take a nap, zombies don't. But a giant zombie is even more horrifying. One that can tower over you. If it starts lumbering forwards, even at a normal zombie walk, just its gait is going to be enough for it to catch up with you. And imagine one of these zombies walking over you. Imagine it doesn't even notice you, and it steps over you, and just its rotting innards are dripping down onto you. It is absolutely horrific, dude. So, 5 mana, 4/4 menace. Whenever another creature dies during your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Vogar. And whenever a Vogar dies, draw a card for each +1/+1 counter on it. This seems bonkers, dude. Like, this is nutty. The whole putting another counter on him when another creature dies, sure, during your turn, that's all right. That's not too shabby. You know, it's not anybody's turn, so it's not too crazy. It's a decent way to get counters on him. But it's really easy to get +1/+1 counters on creatures. Like, it is not a difficult thing to do. And this guy will let you draw a ton of cards. It just seems so good to me. So abusable, right? The flavor text says, a despot in life, a monster in death. This guy was some kind of like tyrant leader? That's awesome. So you've got the zombified giant of a tyrant leader. Oh, dude, his shield is a giant coffin lid. No way. And his axe is made out of people's bones. No. What? That's so good. Oh, man. Okay, anyways, moving on. Moving on to another card that I think is absolutely awesome. We got Nogi, the Draco Zealot. 2 red and 1. Get you a 3/3 legendary kobold shaman. And if you watched my Legends pack opening video, you'll know I love kobolds. So, 3/3 kobold, so right out of the gates, he's a beef boy in terms of kobolds. Kobolds are normally weak little jankifiers. He's 3/3. What does he do? Dragon spells you cast cost 1 less, and whenever he attacks, if you control 3 or more dragons, until end of turn, he becomes a dragon with base power and toughness 5/5 and gains flying. This is a kobold who can literally harness draconic energy to turn himself into a dragon. This is the most epic kobold in existence, dude. The flavor text says, glory to the burning ones. May their mighty fangs devour all foes. And I just picture him down there with his little rattle. He's just going nuts, doing his little shamanic dances, and enough dragons show up, and then he's just like, "Hurrah!" and like Dragon Ball Z style, and the magic flows into him, and he's like, I'm coming! And he flies into the sky as a kobold, and all his little kobold brethren are like, he did it, with tears in their eyes. The true, glorious kobold lord. Oh, I love it, dude. I love it. Anyways, I could go on about that forever. I love the artwork. It's so much fun. Anyways, last one of these cards to talk about is Immaril, and I have a special extra note at the end about this one. So, Immaril is 2 green and 2 for a 3/3 legendary elf warrior. Whenever it attacks, It gets plus X until end of turn, where X is the number of other elves you control. You may have Immoral assign its combat damage as though it weren't blocked. So, on one hand, this is a fun design for an Elven Lord if you want to build an Elven Commander deck. On the other hand, there are like millions of awesome Elf cards, and so this card really feels outclassed in a number of ways, with the exception that the ability to be able to deal your combat damage to your opponent even if it's blocked feels significant because you can win straight up through commander damage. And if you have a bunch of elves out and you can swing, and even if they block, you hit. And this, like, even if you lose this in combat, it just goes back to the command zone. You bring it right back, right? So it feels like it could actually be a build around good time sort of commander. And the artwork is awesome, right? You've got this Llanowar elite, because that's where she's from. The flavor text says, the elvish kingdoms of Llanowar are united in their distrust of outsiders. Always have been. Their punishment is one limb broken for every twig you snap underfoot in their forest. A twig that's fallen on the ground, not even on the tree. Did you step on that and snap it? We're going to break one of your legs. Like, they are wild and insane. And this artwork is really solid too. Speaking of artwork, did you know you could actually buy this artwork? Did you know that there is a Facebook art group where right now this artwork is for sale? Take a look. They have pictures of the artist and the artwork on this Facebook group. The bid for this one is going for $3,200 right now, and you have until the 7th. There is constantly a new flow of magic art showing up in this group. It's absolutely incredible. You're going to want to check it out if you're somebody who's interested in magic art or is somebody who's lucky enough to be rich and can buy that stuff. Either way, I wanted to let you know. Thanks for coming by, my friends. That's all the news that's fit to talk about today. I will leave links to Fantasy Geographic and Hatcher in case you'd like to spend some more time having a good time with me. Big shout out to my patrons. See you all next time, friends.